This is a template, and comic strip cartoonists have a little piece of mat board like this that they can quickly make a comic strip so they don't have to figure out the math every single time. The inside area of a comic strip generally is 3 inches tall by 10 inches wide, and comic strips vary a little, but that's basically the shape that a comic strip is going to be. So I'll just make a second one like this. The paper I use is Strathmore Series 500 plate paper, which is kind of expensive, but there are other papers out there. Basically, any kind of Bristol board is a good paper to use for making comic strips. And when you're doing comic strips, you'll do 6 cartoons that are this size every week, and you'll do a Sunday page that's larger and has more panels to it. All right? So that's that. Now I'll just go right on to the next part. These are rough cartoons. They don't have to be perfect, they just have to get the idea across. Here is Hagar charging a castle, and they've positioned an elephant in the way. So Hagar is turning to Lucky Eddie, his first mate, and he's saying, "Go back and get a mouse." The idea being that elephants are supposed to be afraid of mice. So what I do is I take this rough idea and I draw it on my pre-cut piece of Bristol board, and I develop it. I try to refine the drawing. I make whatever changes I have to the drawing. So now instead of an elephant, I've got an elephant holding a sword, and I've done a little more detail in the castle. I've made Hagar and his crewmates larger, and basically instead of the 5 crewmates, I've only got 4 now. I fired one, and they're holding a battering ram, and here a rain of arrows are coming down on them. And when you're doing cartooning, one of the most important things about cartooning is to know which end of the pencil is for what. This end, of course, is to draw, but this is actually the most important part of the pencil. The most important thing is to be able to go back and erase over and over and over until you've got the character right, until you've got the drawing right. So what I'm going to do is, I didn't do a very good job on Lucky Eddie here, and I'm going to erase him. He's got a kind of a beautiful, elegant neck like a swan, and one big googly eye, and a nose sort of like a piece of fruit or a vegetable, maybe a cassava or an eggplant. And he wears a funnel for a hat, kind of like the Tin Woodsman from The Wizard of Oz. And he has stringy hair. And there, Lucky Eddie's looking quite perplexed. Well, actually, I made him too big. Well, see, that's why we have an eraser. I'm going to erase him, and then I'm going to put his face back in. I'm going to make him the same height as these other Vikings. There we have Hagar and Lucky Eddie and the crew doing battle with a well-armed elephant. So this will now be inked and lettered, and then I'll send it off to the syndicate in New York City. They'll make copies of it and they'll distribute it all over the country and the world, and it'll be appearing in newspapers in about a month and a half.